from the Arcadian Court, it's Graham Kerr's Gathering Place. Now, the man who loves to cook for the people he loves, here's Graham.
Oh, thank you. Hey. It's lovely to have you back. All right. Hey, how are you doing, pal? Hello. Hi, lovely to have you. Whoa. Thank you so much for being here. Bless you. Thank you. Okay, please. Let's get on with it. Before I think this is the Tonight Show. Okay. Evelyn Tribole, first of all, is I think a personal friend now. And you dress so brilliantly for today. You actually match our china, which I'm pleased. She's a Master of Science. She's a registered dietitian. She consults in Beverly Hills, of all places. And she's the author of a book called Stealth Health. And I've described this variously, but this is the most wonderful way of getting great nutrition into people when they don't want to eat healthily. How many, if you had a real choice, who said, okay, dinner tonight is going to be healthy. How many of you are pleased about hearing that? Come on, put your hand up, that's fine. Oh, look, you see? That's about 1/3 of you. The rest of you are saying, I'm not sure about that. Well, this is for the book where people are not sure, and you want to get it to them anyway, and it's okay. And it's a wonderful book, this one. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But I've got one question for you guys. What do you think is the most deficient food item in our actual nutrition? And you think of nutrition in terms of vitamins and minerals, okay? Of all of the vitamins and minerals you've ever heard about, vitamin D, C, A, K, whatever it is, and all the minerals, and magnesium, chromium, everything, what do you think is the single most deficient in the whole world, right? Yeah, anywhere in the world. Anything. Shout it out. Shout. Come on. Pardon? Iron? Protein? Okay, somebody else. Come on, it's all right. It's fine. You may win the prize. Yes, darling. Fiber. Okay. Somebody else. Fiber. Oh, well, I'm so glad you're all so excited about this. Well, I'll tell you what, in just a moment, we'll actually reveal it to you. And Evelyn will actually tell you what it is, okay? And in the meantime, I want to take you off on our trip around the world, looking for caring wrapped in pleasure, and see where we're going to today. I wonder whether any of you have ever gone to New Hampshire to a place called the Balsams. No? Oh, you have. How neat. One person. Let's go and join. You know where it is. Let's go. Okay, and here we are in New Hampshire, and oh, what an absolutely stunning day. Somehow, whenever I've been up here, it's stunning. It's just great. You see the hill, the White Mountains, these are called. And, of course, White Mountains become White Mountains, obviously, when the snow falls. When you drive along here, be very careful about roadkill. There are moose on the road. And the chef pâtissier, the one that does the desserts at Balsams, hit a moose. And I said, well, that serves you right with all those chocolate mousse you've done over the years. But anyway, it's all right. Welcome to New Hampshire. And just beyond the White Mountains there, which you see, you can see them perfectly now, there's a kind of chalkiness which outcrops, which it doesn't require snow. It actually looks as if it's snowing all the year round. But right nestled under this in a place called Dixville Notch is Balsams itself, mirrored against a beautiful lake with wonderful golf courses all the way around. I've been skiing there in the summer, well, for about 20 feet, and then hit my back, so it doesn't matter. And stay there, and I love to stay in that little turret room there. And in just a second, we'll get a shot of the turret room. But it is just beautiful, you guys. And in the old days, a long time ago, people used to leave New York when it got hot and steamy and go right up here and spend their vacation. They still do. It's one of those great resorts. There's the room in that marvelous sort of place there. That's terrific. And you go down to Dindin's, and the dinner menu is laid up, and every plate there is the entire menu. And you look through, and you can actually see what you're going to have for the whole menu. And there is an apprenticeship scheme here where chefs are taught under Chef Phil Learned. And I tell you, in my judgment, and I've really been around quite a bit now, this is one of the most fabulous apprenticeship schemes in the entire world. Takes a long time to be there, but this is Phil Learned himself. By the way, he's an avid fly fisherman, just on the side. He's carving there a most beautiful piece of pot roast, slightly underdone and differently than the way I'm going to do it, but that's okay. This is one of the great dishes that they serve there. And when you sit down with that marvelously laid up table and let your knife blade sink through the tender meat and that gorgeous sauce that you get from a Yankee pot roast, it's just wonderful. So that's what I wanted to do. And there was enough in that meat there to give you some kind of a clue as to what the most deficient mineral would it be. And tell us. Cue.
It's iron.
There. Well done. You get it. You get a free copy of Evelyn's book, which she will sign for you in a moment. You were the one person that did it. There we go. I actually had two. Well, it's one for the kitchen, one for the bathroom. And I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that this was the book that we're talking about. And it's been very popular. And the last time you were with us, you were telling us that it was almost out, and now it's out.
It's out.
So congratulations. I'm having a lot of fun reading it, actually.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk iron just for a while. You've said that this is the most deficient. If I was deficient of iron, what would I feel like?
Well, there's some of the classic things. We've certainly heard about iron poor blood, and the number one thing is fatigue. But what is so shocking is what happens when a child is iron deficient. They actually have behavioral and thought problems. They have trouble learning. Another symptom can be if you get really cold all the time, assuming you're not in a cold climate, or difficulty sleeping at night. Those are symptoms of iron deficiency anemia.
Well, and you're saying to me that there is a lot of this prevalent. That's, what was it, 38% something?
Oh, it's incredibly high. It's the number one nutrient deficiency worldwide. But here's what's so interesting. I think part of the reason why we're seeing it is we become so fat phobic, knocking off everything, including red meat. And red meat is a really good source of iron.
You see, now this is what I want to do. I want to do the red meat, but then, you know, we're going to talk about red meat within reason.
Absolutely.
And so we'll look at this, and I've got this great lump of red meat on there that I want to cook for you. And this is, you know, the true Yankee pot roast. Melts in your mouth. Just delicious. Okay? Be back in just a moment. I'll cook it. Okay. Now then, Okay, thank you. And this is as close as I could ever get to a baseball one. All right, now, let me see. Now, finally, it's a stop signal. Oh, no,
Well,
it's a stop signal.
It is. It reminds me that when I'm passing the salad table to eat something red,
Yes.
something yellow, and something green.
Well, isn't that marvelous? Well, that goes with your eyes.
Thank you. All
That's
blood,
right.
red and bloodshot, yes.
Yes.
And my yellow teeth.
That's right, and this is the center of the... No, I see what it is. Just to begin with, when I looked at it with my eyesight, I thought, he finally has stumbled onto good taste. But now that I see it, I see that you still remain, basically the same as ever. Good. Thank you for your gift on the piano.
You're welcome, sir.
It really does move over your sartorial splendor, which is great. You know, we're thrilled for you. Hey, you guys, thank you. I've got a little pan on the heat. What I wanted to do is I wanted to take the absolutely magnificent dish, which this pot roast is, and what I wanted to do was to make sure that it was able to be done within reason. Now, you know, we had a reasonable portion. I think it was a reasonable portion that Phil Leonard was actually sloshing up there. But quite often, you know, when you buy a piece of pot roast in a restaurant, you're going to get about an 8-ounce portion of meat, all right? And that becomes kind of the standard. We go to restaurants, and it sets a style. And so 8 ounces is 8 ounces. If you don't get 8 ounces, you somehow short-shifted. Well, I want to take that down to 3.5 ounces. I want to show you what happens, but I also want to save 500 calories out of this one dish and get that down to a reasonable size. So we get iron, but we don't get it with a whole bunch of fat at the same time. Okay, now, the very first thing, let me just put a half teaspoonful of oil in the pan here. And by the way, about this one, a half teaspoonful of oil is what, 3 grams?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, about 3 grams. So 3 grams, you might have always wondered what a gram was. And a gram, actually, is a paper clip, about the weight of a paper clip. So you've got a little dab of oil by the side of that, like that, and it weighs the same amount as a paper clip does. It's really interesting because that amount is 9 calories. 1 gram of oil is 9 calories. But if I got a piece of carbohydrate there, 1 gram of carrot would be 4 calories. And that's why fat is just one of the reasons why fat is being reduced is a very good idea from a weight point of view, quite apart from a number of other benefits at the same time. So I just thought you'd like to see that. And you'd say, well, really, 3 grams of fat isn't much to put in a dish for 8 people, Graham, and you know, isn't that a bit little? And I said, no, not really, and I'll show you why. What I want to do is I want to be able to get an onion and do a sort of a fast chop through there just to get large pieces, hunks of onion, and drop that down in the pan. What I want from that when it sizzles is to sort of break out a natural volatile oil. Now, darling, with all due respect, I know that you do sometimes saute in your book in stock.
Yes.
And I don't think you can saute unless it's got oil there.
Okay.
Because at a certain temperature, about 385, the oil sacs in the onion start breaking out. And I can't get that from stock because it's only going to go up to about 212, you see. So that's just one little thing. But just a half teaspoonful is okay.
Oh,
is
it's
that
so
all right?
reasonable.
May I do that?
Absolutely.
Okay, fine.
You go for it.
So a half teaspoonful, well, actually, we really tasted this on a double-blind study using people with about 4 ounces of oil, quarter of a cup of oil, against just a half teaspoonful. And in the final analysis in the dish when it's finished, you can't tell the difference. You really can't. And so if you can't tell the difference, what's the point of putting in a quarter of a cup of oil when it's all those number of calories that go into it? That's my view about it anyway. All right, so that's good. And it's sizzling away here, so now we can simply add the rest of it. Now, the rest of it is this. And this becomes extraordinary, this, you guys. This is tomato paste. And tomato paste, when you want something to have a really deep and extraordinary flavor, and it goes down deep, and it's got to have a kind of mahogany look to it at the same time, the finished sauce, tomato paste is fabulous. And what happens is that there is actually a sugar content in this tomato, which is going to caramelize at the same time with these onions when they're scooting around the bottom of the pan. And as it caramelizes, instead of just having 1 or 2 flavor molecules that come from it, they will suddenly burst out into about 700 flavor molecules. So you get incredible depth in the sauce. And because if you're going to replace a large amount of meat, which people are absolutely addicted to sometimes, you've got to get tons of flavor into the sauce as a result of it. And this is the absolute certainty that whenever you do any dish, which is like a stew, start it out this way and cook this down until it starts to be a brown color instead of being red. It's going to take about 6 minutes of sauteing in the pan. But, you know, I don't have that amount of time. Let me show you this. I've got here just a regular old carrot and celery. And what I want with these is just to simply take the things into a large cut, all right? I don't need it to be any specific sort of cut at all, just simply cut it down. Oh, come on. And then the celery as well. I love celery. Celery is great fun to be able to have fun with. You see, like this, especially looking up. By the way, never do this. Never, when you get older, never don't look down. Because you want to be a pianist, okay? It's very important that you hang on to your fingers when you do that. Okay. It's just a little fun. All right. Now, we'll pop that down, and all of those are roughly chopped. They're not even peeled, for goodness sake. And what are you doing, Graham? I'm forming what is called a bed of roots for the base of for this. This has to be, the flavors out of this are going to come into the juice itself that I'm going to cook it in. So this is the first part, and it really works out very well. Let me show you the lump of rump. No, it's all right. I mean, it's all right, don't worry. This is a rump. This is a piece of rump, and you probably have never seen me with a piece of meat this big before. This is for 8 people, and it's 2.5 pounds. And in the raw weight, this is what you need. It works out at about 5 ounces raw weight per person, 5 8 40. Now, what I want you to do is to see that I've got actually a grain in the meat with rump. And we tried this with blade, which is often used, and we tried it with rump. The rump is the most flavorsome and the best that we could find. So you've got to see which way the grain is running. In fact, you could go to the butcher, ring the little bell, you know, and then somebody will come out of a supermarket. And you say to him, look, I say, old chap, or whichever way you like to address him. That's what I do. Do you think you could get me a piece of rump where the grain, I want to be able to carve it across the grain, not with it. Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, very good, sir. No problem. And then you come back 2 weeks later and he's got it ready for you. Always make sure to give them a day's notice in butcher shop. So this is what I've got. The grain's running that way, which means I can carve it across the grain, and that's just what I want to do there. All right. So now we'll take these. We'll assume that they've taken that period of time and that the onions have come down and all the vegetables are out of it. And what you do then is you will then have to give this a good rinse around. Now, it's got vegetable juices on and everything else, but do you know something? If you don't rinse it, you're going to have great big clods of black marks on the meat itself, and that really doesn't work. So I'm going to put 1 extra half teaspoon. It doesn't go in there. It goes on this plate, so forget that. Fine. Well, let's put a little smidgen more there. All right. And onto there, 1/4 teaspoonful of salt and 1/4 teaspoonful of pepper. Just a bit more pepper. Maybe just a bit more for them. Okay. Oh, well, I mean, you know, isn't that fun? I mean, to measure things is wonderful, but just to, you know, go for it is great. All right. And then what I do is I take the lump of meat and I just toss it backwards and forwards in the seasoning, rubbing the seasoning into it, picking up everything all the way around the outside. I've got my seasoning on the outside, right? I've got the oil on that too and a dry pan. Now, down into the bottom of the pan, and I want that to sort of brown up. And it's really put on both sides, tossed backwards and forwards until it gets a nice brown color. And I'll just take a couple of minutes and we'll be right back and do that. Okay. Okay. Now you guys look. Here is the one side here which we've browned. Now see, it has a nice brown outside. Now this is called the Maillard reaction, after a French physicist, biochemist. He didn't know what he was doing at the time. All he knew was when he cooked meat, it had this wonderful smell, and it went brown. And that's now called the Maillard reaction. And it is when you brown, when you barbecue, whatever you do, when the meat starts to go brown, you start to get this fantastic flavor and smell that comes from it. So you do this in order to develop, again, the smell and the aroma. You did that, first of all, with the... come on out. You can tell it's been a long time since I had to get a pair of tongs around a piece of meat this big. So I want to put that out on the side. Now, I would brown that all the way around the outside, with the time that I had. Now I've got the pan on the go here. And what I would do normally is just to simply pour in a little beef stock. If I would say that was a steak of some kind, I pour a little beef stock into the bottom of there, and I deglaze the pan. As you see, that's happening. And in order to deglaze a pan, you need a spatula. This is called a spurtle with a straight edge, so that you can actually get down, and if there's any little bits on the bottom at all, you can scrape them up. Now, that's if you were going to do that, but I want something a bit more than that, so I'm going to take 3½ cups of stock here, and you might see how jellied that is. That is a good beef stock. We made that ourselves. You can even start, your own beef stock with good beef bones and roast them off before. And I don't know whether you want to go to that amount of trouble. You can actually use a can of beef stock if you absolutely must, but don't use one of those nasty little packets. I really don't like the way they taste, and beef stock is reasonable. Okay, so we've got that on the go there, and we'll just put that up there. Now, let's just go to this. Now, this one is the actual dish itself when it has gone back. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll simply take this, and let me show you this first of all. Here is some fresh vegetables. And what I want to do with these is to keep turning the carrot as I actually slice it. And it's called roll cutting. And if you keep cutting it around like this, what you get is something other than what you're normally used to on a carrot, normally little rings or something. And this one makes it look just a little bit different. So I've got 6 carrots there and a couple of little turnips, these little things which have these purple tops. It's the designer vegetable. And these things here, I just want to put into a pan which is some boiling hot water, a little bit of salt in it, and just drop those in and cook those for about 15 to 20 minutes, just until they're tender. And I want to cook those separately because the other vegetables that are in here have really gone a bit far. Let me show you how far that goes. Here's the one where it's actually been cooked. So we'll take out the piece, the lump of meat. Now those are about the same size. You see how much it shrinks during the cooking process. And I want to keep that hot. So I'm going to put a sort of cloche over the top of it. It's amazing when you actually contain something, how it's kind of a hot box principle. Now, see all of this stuff here? We've got a little bunch of herbs, which I'll explain to you in a moment. And we'll take the whole lot up and just strain it off. So just pour it in. And all of that junk that's in there, and it's just junk, it's dead, it's gone, it's finished, it's X. It's a... do you remember the parrot thing with John Cleese? It's dead, it's X, it's an X parrot, and this fellow's arguing in his pet shop that it's not really dead. It was the most funny thing I've ever seen. Well, these vegetables are dead, gone, moribund, over the top, and don't ever even think for a moment of eating them. They're really bad news. In fact, I've got this to make sure that you understand that they will never be used by man or beast. I suppose in a compost they may do something, but that's all. So we've got this now. Now we're going to simply take this, just give that pan just a little bit of a rinse there, and get that stock back in this sauce. We'll just keep that sauce just one side for just 1 second. Okay, nearly there. That is done. And now the vegetables, when these vegetables, right here, have had their cooking time, they will look, there they are. They will look exactly like this. And those are absolutely wonderful. If they were cooked down in the dish itself, you know what would be like? they would be rotten. They would be they would be had it. They would just go nowhere. So what I'm going to do with those is add those to the stock. Everything will become clear in 1 second. And to those, I want to add some mushrooms, okay? And then to the mushrooms, there are about 12 mushrooms, and 12 peeled, blanched onions. Pop those into the top as well. Now you've got a wonderful lot of ingredients, and you've got to get that up. Now, let's get back to this one here. Here is the pan, and you simply add the sautéed vegetables to it, and then the lump of meat that we have over here, you just pull this up, nestle it down into the midst of that, and then you pour the 12 ounces of stock, the 3.5 cups of stock, out of here. This is so funny. Have you lost it? Have you lost me? Because I have. So don't let that worry you. All things will become clear. So this is the mixture that came out of this one. You got that? Okay. You sure you've got me there? We threw the vegetables away, and now what we're doing here is we're actually taking this sauce and passing this through. And you see, I already passed that through once. It doesn't need to be passed again. Yes, it does. You look at this kind of mixture that's in the top. Look at that. That's just all debris again. And now underneath there, I've got a reasonably good stock thing really going nicely there. Okay? And we've got the fat on the surface. Now, what you've got to do, just take this up here, get a bowl, and take all of this out of here, okay? Pour that out. And you say, what's he doing? This is not normal, I want you to know, but you are very privileged to be part of something which has gone wrong. And I'm putting this right in front of your very eyes. Now, you see, that is obviously not cooked yet. So we put this back over here, and then you take this stock. You got it now? Okay, and you pour that over the top of that thing. That's good. That is what you simmer for 3 hours with the lid on. And then we come back to this one, which of course is fairly easy to do because you simply put the vegetables back in the top there and then take this in the jug and pour that, and it's poured so that you've got a fat-free juice, which is the summary of all of those rejected vegetables there. At one stage there I thought, I feel like I'm on a campaign trail for an elected office, and I've forgotten what I'm going to promise people. So, all right, so that's down, and that's beautiful. That's going very nicely there. All right, and now we've got this, which we're going to carve up in just a moment. That's perfectly all right. This has got to be brought to the heat, and I'm going to second that in just a moment. Is everything clear? Oh, you promised me that it's clear. Okay, then one moment. I just do want to add one thing. I want to add just 2 tablespoons full of vinegar to that sauce there. And in addition to which, a little bunch of herbs needs to go into this one here with the vegetables. And you just tie the herbs together. It's thyme, bay leaves, peppercorns, just a couple of cloves and some parsley. And you wrap it all up and tie it together and put that into the dish so that, anyway, it doesn't matter if it comes out because you're going to strain it anyway. Okay, you got it? 3 hours, comes out, vegetables there. This is keeping warm. That's going to heat up for about 6 minutes. And now we can talk about iron. glad that. All right, thanks so much. Talk about stealth health. Yeah, when you've got that number of pots on the top, who knows what's going on? Okay. All right. Well, now, iron has entered my body. I have eaten iron. All right. So I've had a slice of beef, and it doesn't have to be rare, does it?
Oh, no.
No. Okay. Or a piece of chicken or a piece of fish.
Dark meat, chicken, dark meat.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's entered my body. What's it doing?
Here's the cool thing. Every red blood cell in the center of that is iron, and that holds on to oxygen, so that's what gives us our energy. Plus, it's also involved in so many enzyme systems throughout our body. You know the cool thing about minerals?
Yeah.
You can't cook them to death. So no matter if your beef was, rare or overcooked, you're still going to get that iron.
Good. Oh, well, that's neat. All right, so we've got iron, and it carries oxygen. Think of this. Think of me as a red blood cell, you think? All right? And I've got this aqua lung on my back with oxygen, all right? And I'm whizzing around the body like this, and I particularly like going to the brain. And don't I pick up oxygen in the lung?
Absolutely.
So I go through the lung, and do this up, and shoot out to the brain, and go like this, right? And when it's gone, I feel better, Is that right?
I wish you were my science teacher in college.
Oh,
That's
yes,
what I
know,
wish.
yeah, right. And then I go down through and I gather up all the carbon dioxide on the way out, right?
Something
go back
like
through
that.
the lung, and it comes out as carbon dioxide.
And that's just one function of iron.
Just one.
And see, now what we're finding out, I read the research, is that it's involved in so many enzymes that help the thinking process that for school-age kids, if they're not getting enough iron, they have behavioral problems and thought problems.
Now, yes. Okay,
I have to tell you
go
something.
on, go on.
It just blows me away.
Oh,
You're a
no,
man.
No, so then, therefore, you've got a child who's not doing well at school.
That's right, but here's the thing. Okay, a man your size
Yes.
and a child like this, from age 1 to 10, has the same iron requirement as you do as an adult male.
Same as me?
Yes.
I can't believe this. This comes down.
Let's do a comparison. You both have the same iron requirement.
Come on, just give us a favor. The same amount of iron for me?
That's right. That's why it is such an issue. We need to make sure we get iron into these diets.
Isn't that amazing? Okay, fine, good. All right. Now, what if I don't? What if Fallon? That's Fallon. What if Fallon doesn't have enough iron?
Okay.
Okay.
Here's some good news.
What's she going to be like?
Well, she might have trouble learning. There might be some irritability.
Irritable?
But the nice thing is we can pick some of this stuff. We can pick some of this up on blood tests. You can see if you're iron deficiency anemia.
All right. Okay. That I can understand. So
Okay.
if that's done, now then you start chewing iron tablets.
That's one option. But let's talk about food first, can we?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Here's the good thing. Besides getting iron in red meat, like what if you don't like red meat,
Yep.
you can actually add things into your meal that will increase the iron absorption. So it's like taking a savings account fund and trading banks and just getting more interest on it. So, do you want to know what the iron enhancers are?
Yes.
Okay. They are vitamin C rich foods like orange juice. Yeah. You knew this stuff.
Fine.
Like broccoli, like peppers, like strawberry. Just the presence of those with a little bit of iron increases the absorption up to 85% more.
You get 85. It's like betting on the stock
Depending
market.
on what it is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if I had roast beef, well, if I had this beef, I don't like drinking orange juice with the beef.
Well, you've got to have something that tastes good together. I wouldn't ask you to, do something that doesn't
but then
combine.
you'd put red peppers in
Oh,
there.
peppers I'd probably think very highly
No,
of.
but there's nothing in there at the moment because the carrots didn't do it. No.
In terms of vitamin C, not at the
No.
moment, but that's not the whole meal, is it?
No, it isn't.
Ah.
I've got a surprise for you
Okay.
afterwards. Fine, okay. So now what inhibits it?
Well, tea, coffee.
Tea, you guys, tea. Okay.
And here's the one thing that really is surprising, is if you're taking iron supplements,
Yes.
in addition to a calcium supplement, when it's in your stomach, calcium acts like a big bully and the iron doesn't get absorbed. So the message here is you need to take those separately, like your calcium at a separate time from an
Are
iron.
they called lignan?
That's something totally different. Those are certain kind of fibers
Okay.
that
but
might impair
they
iron.
also wrap and combine, don't
Yeah,
they?
yeah, like little Velcros attaching to the iron, and it doesn't get absorbed; it goes out the body.
Isn't it fascinating? You know, when you start looking in, it's just amazing. But I want to get this down to what you guys can do starting tomorrow. If you're feeling tired, irritable, There's all kinds of reasons for that, of course. You
Well,
know.
and the truth is, too, so many people have cut out red meats or dark meats because they're trying
Okay.
to, for health,
I can
to lower their
understand that.
fat. They
Yes.
might be getting rid of a significant iron source. So let's find out first if there's enough iron in your diet,
Yeah.
what you can do to bring it up. And if that's not possible, you might want to take a look at an iron supplement.
Okay, good. Now, if you're still bothered by that and want to know, there is a whole chapter on iron in this book. And what is so neat about this book is that it identifies the problem very simply, explains it, tells you how much you need, tells you what some children are actually popping iron pills in order to be brighter because their parents have heard about this and they get actually toxic
They
situations.
can get a poisoning situation because it tastes
Yeah,
like
so
candy.
don't just think that you get brighter and brighter the more iron you be able to have. And you do this so wonderfully because you keep on giving ways in which you can start to increase the amount of iron in a normal way without
right.
having to go supplement first of all. This is food first, supplement second. And you're to be congratulated on it.
Thank
Just
you.
great. Okay, now this means that I've got to get back over there to finish your disc.
Okay.
That's nice. I like that. You should work on that one. All right, we'll just bring this up to the heat just a little bit more. Over here, under the cloche, I've got that nicely done. This is ready for a little bit of a carve up. And all I have to do to the sauce that we've done here, first of all, is to taste it. It's come up to the heat. The mushrooms have cooked through in that time. And then just 1 teaspoonful at a time. You don't plunge it back into the dish. Oh, it's nice. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. Okay, now, we've got to get this going somehow into a sauce. And normally, the way this would be done is that there would be some sort of flour in the beginning part, would be thrown onto the onions, and you would cook all of this together, and the flour would have time to be able to become a thick sauce. Now, this is arrowroot here, and I want to add about a tablespoonful per cup. I don't want to add any more than that. The trouble with arrowroot, when you start adding it, it's a wonderful ingredient. It thickens just whilst you look at it. I mean, it doesn't even have to boil. And arrowroot is just a very fine, delicate starch, which is very easily digested. It has no flavor and has no color when you've actually done it. It's better than cornstarch because cornstarch is opaque and has a bit of a floury taste to it. You have to boil it for 30 seconds to get it up. But this is fine. So we've got there a sauce. I need to just add just a little bit more. I actually got one of the, this is a little thing that I found in Japan, and it's usually used for starches and mirin and things like that. But it's a wonderful thing for just being able to put a little bit of starch into something and see how it works. Okay, that's fine, going well. All right, so then you would simply take this. Now you remember we wanted to cut it across the grain. And let me just get this off here and onto the plate. And it will look just like this. I want you to know that we want you to see what you are getting into. Now, if I cut it down that way, that one is with the grain. Okay? And you see what happens. It's all stringy in that fashion. So I've got to turn it across the grain there and start being able to cut down across the grain there. And what I'm going to do, and this is quite different from the way in which you saw it down at the Balsams. The way you saw it down at the Balsams, I'm going to go back there and talk to Phil about that because I really don't know how you can do it and it comes out with such a nice portion. And it's about time I went back to school anyway. So let's take 3 nice slices, and that's going to be about the size of the palm of my hand. And you must have read somewhere that when you look at about the palm of your hand there without the fingers, and I've got a big hand, but that's about the size of a pack of playing cards. That's going to be about the right size that we need to be able to have. Okay. Now, hot plates out of the oven. Nearly ready. I'm spying you. I want to know who's going to eat this. I never know. I keep myself waiting until the last second. Love it. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, one way out of this is just to take this and just rest it into the sauce. So you get the 3 pieces that you've got. Pop it down into the sauce there. Got other bits there as well. Let's make sure I don't waste anything. And pop that down and then just submerge it for a moment and let that just heat through. That's a nice way of being able to present it. And then with a spatula here, we can whiz this up. You get then, here's a slice. Yeah, all right. A few of those vegetables underneath. See how that's glistening? Now, the glistening comes from fat normally, but the glistening in this particular case is coming with this because of that arrowroot. And it is perfect. I mean, it really tastes wonderful here. And you may say to yourself again, I mean, this is fine for you to say it. Well, frankly, Graham, that's not enough meat for me. But I'm saying that I think it really is. And this is so incredibly difficult. No, really, it is something that we wrestle with all the time. If we're really going to get life under control somehow, that's the portion size is one of those big things we're going to have to do. We've got a lump of mashed potatoes on the side there. Yeah, good. Wow. And the mashed potatoes are spiked with a little bit of horseradish in there. Just imagine, and with buttermilk and horseradish. And now just throw a little bit of over the top, a little parsley over the top. Really, that's quite a good plateful. You know, you don't have to stagger from the stove. Absolutely done. Who is it going to be? Who is it going to be? Oh, you guys, I want you all to come and taste this. It's so special. I tell you what, can you stagger out, darling? Can you, I know it makes it difficult, but please. There you go. Well done. Here, come along. It looks as if you'd like to have a go.
If you want to cook today's recipe with your friends, it's right here in the Gathering Place. Graham is now cooking every single recipe in the book so that you can join him and Trina as they search the world for recipes just for you. Call toll-free 1-877-287-5253 or send $29.95 plus GST along with $5 for shipping and handling to Graham Kerr's Gathering Place, P.O. Box 535, 31 Adelaide Street East, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, M5C 2J6.
Thanks so much. Bless you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I really want you to meet Josie, who's Jones, our associate producer's mother, and I had absolutely no idea, but it's lovely to have you. And now we say, hello, Josie, right? Hello, Josie. Good. Dive into that, Josie. It should be nice and tender. It's a sort of, after 3 hours, it sort of gives up. And flavor
really
all the way.
good.
Is it okay? I know
very
you're a
good.
great cook because Jones told me.
Yeah,
No, really.
it's
Okay.
very good.
Questions?
Yes. Oh, this is so hard to take looking at that food. This is Lorna. I'd like to introduce you to Lorna. She has a question.
Hello.
Hi, Graham. It looks and smells delicious, but how often should we be eating red meat every week?
How often to eat red meat every week? Oh, me? Oh, no, me. Oh, you.
I
Okay.
think as long
every
as
week.
it's a really lean source, you could probably have it daily. But the key word is lean and the portion sizes that we're looking at right here.
Right. So
Okay.
not in excess.
Smaller portions. And make the most of it. Notice what we've got at dessert. Kiwi fruit and oranges here with strawberries in it. Now that served immediately following gives an 85% increase in the iron in the beef there.
Absolutely.
Isn't that wonderful? I didn't know that, and I'm
looking.
thrilled. Then I'm going to have a cup of tea and ruin the whole thing. Okay, thanks so much. Okay, do we have another? We've got
Yes, we
time,
do.
I think, for
Yes,
just one
we do.
question. Yeah.
What's your name?
John.
Hi, John.
Go ahead, John.
Hi, you guys are great. I was just wondering, is it true that cooking with an iron skillet can increase your iron?
It's true. It's
Yeah,
really
go on.
true. We learned that from a tribe of Indians who used to brew their beer in in a big iron cauldron. They used to get too much iron, actually. And so it's wonderful. So if you were to cook your spaghetti sauce in an iron skillet, you'd get tons of iron.
And what's neat about it is that it's all right. Stainless steel does that too.
It does.
Yeah,
It does.
But make sure there's some acidity in the dish. There was some cider vinegar in that, probably not quite enough to leach it out. But a good Italian tomato dish is just great. And the longer it simmers, the more iron that you're going to get into it.
Thanks
so
a lot.
that's great. Teflon coating doesn't make it.
It doesn't.
No. Okay, 15 seconds to go, and I'll tell you what. Just in a moment, I will show you the numbers on this one and show you what happens basically when you make a sauce like this and you get the portions down like this. And I'll show you, it's really radical. Okay, we'll be back in just a second. I love that piece of film. I just could watch that all day. And I didn't like eating anything else but eights. Okay, 903 calories, that would be your pretty standard portion of a Yankee pot roast. This one is 390. That's a tremendous drop. Remember how we've done that, though. 53 grams of fat down to 8 grams of fat. And this is the selection of the rump and also the way we cooked it and strained away that fat on that sauce. 3 is saturated fat. 63 is carbohydrates, and 6 is fiber. So I think all the way around you would get a really good dose of iron and then serve the citrus following that. Thank you so much for being with me again.
Thank you for the meal.
Love you to come back if you would. Thank you so much, Josie. Thank you for Joan as well. Okay, well, I just left it down here so I didn't want to forget it. Now, thank you for your indulgence today with me fooling around with that sauce. Wow, there was a point in time when I really wondered how I was going to be able to fix that, but thank you for trusting me. Okay, now, what we're talking about here is all number of things that if you are deficient of them, something goes wrong in your life. Something you are not as outgoing, you're not as available for people, you haven't got the energy for people. And that's such a sadness. You know, if we have the energy for one another, there's so much more in life than we can actually do, and so much joy in life in actually living it. So please, I would really encourage you. This is such a good book. Stealth Health, okay, remember that one? It's published by Viking Press, and there she is, the author, stuffing away through a piece of more iron for you, darling.
Right.
No
Enjoy.
irritability. Okay, I'll be back in just a moment. So just make sure, get your blood tested, find out how your iron is doing. Back in a second. Thank you so much again. Thank you very much again. And the next episode of The Gathering Place, we are going to New Brunswick, an Atlantic province of Canada, and we're going to see Brunswick stew. Used to be made with squirrels, but don't worry about that. We're not going to do it that way. With chicken for you on the next episode. See you then. God bless you.